Alright. There's going to be a part 2. This part. Because that part 1 was cute. So, what's going on? What is up? So, yesterday, I went on a tangent about people who got the essential worker grant, blah blah blah, and I said I had tea about those remote windshield wipers, about people who were on public assistance. I always grew up, alright, I grew up 80s, early 90s. I was a product of early 1980s. Back then, it was still, you had a problem, you relied on family. You didn't rely on the system. Bloop. Yeah, so you didn't rely on, I don't even know what social programs they had back then, like, for people. I know there was, like, obviously for old people, you know, stuff like that, I think. So, give you a little context. My dad left when I was 2. And permanently left after, I don't know how long, like, left and never saw me again for a while. To me, my grandpa was my dad, you know, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't, you know. So, my grandpa had developed Alzheimer's and had started wandering. And even though his family lived, like, right around us, they did not help. So, you know, he went into a private nursing home. So we're moving from upstairs, where I live now, to downstairs, where he lived. And the phone rings. Lo and behold, it's my father. I swear, guys like him have a radar for when shit is happening. So I answer the phone. He's like, hey, is your mom home? So, like, I give her the phone. He starts coming around again. I ask him to move in because, you know, after you have a dad around that you didn't have around, and the person that you call that, like, was your dad isn't around anymore, and the windows are stuck. And all the abuse that I was living with, I thought, okay, maybe it would be a good thing. You know, like, maybe my mom would stop being abusive. And there's a speed bump. But that didn't happen. And whatever. My dad was one of those people. Didn't want to get a job, didn't want to do anything extra. So he relied on the system. And so he came back when I was in the 4th grade. He left when I was in the 8th grade, and he destroyed my mother's income. We were lower middle class. When he left, we were poor. He had taken out credit cards in her name. You know how they mail you a credit card? Yeah, he would sign it and use it. When he was packing, I had seen all of her jewelry in the back and, like, the trunk, but I never thought anything of it, you know. So he ended up stealing all of her jewelry everything else. He had met someone else and remarried her. Fast forward till February. When did Marie die? And this year, his wife died a few days before that. So that was how long my father ignored me, from 8th grade till now. He even took my mom to court for the $22 a week he was sending, or, you know, he was getting garnished. When his other daughter's mother, even though she did not have them, have his daughter at all, like his parents basically did. And a couple $100. So he petitioned more me, I think, than my mom. I'm not sure. I forget. So I didn't go in. I wasn't allowed. I went outside to have a cigarette. And it was done. Like, and I was so sick, too, because I worked at a daycare center and got all those little goblins diseases. But anyway. For the longest time, my mom told me, because of him, if she ever found out that I was getting assistance, she would break both of my hands so I could not sign the paperwork. Yeah. And I'm actually glad that she did that, because I mean, I started work, I was doing chores at 6 years old. Like, real chores. Not like, oh, sweet Cecil Scott. No, I was doing laundry, taking garbage out, shit like that. So, I started babysitting, like, professional babysitting, when I was 12, whatever 4th grade is. And I got my real paying job, you know, like, go every week, when I was a junior in high school. That I had until I started this job. All the time I was working at daycare centers, going to school, whatever else, you know. But she always took most of my money. Always. Anywho. So this brings me to, so here we go. My mom's friend's daughter. Alright. My mom's friend had gotten pregnant in her very late 40s. Very late 40s. Supposedly naturally. Like closer to 50, if not 50. Supposedly naturally with twins. One twin was fine. The other twin, I think, she's below average. She can never live alone. She maybe has the maturity of, I don't know, maybe 12-year-old, and I'm being generous. But she was on disability, so my mom's friend would sometimes go to disability because they moved around a lot because she committed, credit card check fraud a lot. Yeah. So we were in front of the Social Security building, or not Social Security, DSS. Social Security is a completely different thing. Department or Administration, Social Security Administration is on Broadway. DSS is on Washington. It's weird how the streets merge and stuff, but yeah. I'm like, oh shit, I hope my mom does not see me out in front of this building, even though it was during the day and she was at work, and why would it matter if it wasn't there for me? Whatever. So, fast forward to my new job. I am sent to family court because I ran my mouth and told somebody I didn't give a fuck who their daddy was. They were a piece of shit and a fucking asshole and everything else, yeah. So I went to family court. That was my punishment. I loved it. So, I would check people in for court and call them into court. On support side, they had three support magistrates. Alright? One of those magistrates dealt almost exclusively with Department of Social Services cases. Everything else regarding that. Like, if women wanted DSS, they would have to do a Who's Your Daddy test, whatever else, to make them pay for whatever before supposedly. So, people would come in their pajamas. People would come in with, their babies' diapers still soaking, filled with pee from the night before, whatever else. In the same breath, people would also come in driving Hummers. Brand new hair extensions, brand new nails, brand new clothes. The newest strollers, the newest diaper bags, the newest of new everything. And that was all through being on social programs. Yep. So my money, that was around the time everything happened with the house, who, with two incomes, between me and my mom, were below poverty level. So, I got to see this, and, like, every day. Every day. And I also work with people who are on insurance through New York State that the taxpayers pay for, because they will call in enough times to only have a certain amount of hours that they need to technically be working, to technically say, I found a job, I am working. Do not take me off of my assistance. But technically not enough hours to comfortably live. I've been in public housing that have new couches, everything. It was nicer than my house. My one friend, her sister's baby daddy lived in a house or an apartment with a spiral staircase. Yeah. All of these houses are public housing, or you can get Section 8 for them. When I was talking to a woman on a bus stop one day, New York State, years ago, didn't have enough in the till for all the programs. So what they do, they started charging the elderly for their prescriptions. Yeah. People who actually worked, who actually contributed to the system, were now being forced to live even more poverty stricken. So, and I'm not gonna lie, we went to food banks, you know, but it was those food banks where you pay for a certain package. It wasn't like a free food bank. So that's why I get pissed off when people get free money, in a way. Because I've seen how people play the system. I've seen how people come month after month and, you know, show that they went on interviews or they filled out applications or they can't get a job because of XYZ or whatever else. And I worked, I don't know how many years before I got fertility insurance that people who were on public health insurance were getting. So I was paying for other people's fertility treatments when I couldn't pay for my own because they were too expensive. And I mean, now it's sad because people were making, you know, and like I said, I will always be grateful that I was never furloughed. But people who were on unemployment were making thousands of dollars. And instead of paying the rent, what did they do? Did everything but. So when it was time to kick people out, or, you know, people want their back rent, it was like, oh my God, you know, renters' rights. You could have been paying your rent, and you chose not to. You could have done so many things with that money, and you chose not to. I mean, police had to go with the electric company when they were shutting off electric because people were getting violent with the electric company people because they didn't pay their bills for months on end, and it was catching up to them, and they were suffering the repercussions. And it wasn't during the winter, legit, it was during the summer. When everybody was unaliving people. That was all COVID though, but whatever. So yeah, that is why I have the tea on all that. That is why I do not like the government of New York State. That is why I do not approve of some social programs. Because they say welfare has a limit. At least it's supposed to. It's supposed to be 10 years. People have been on it. It's a generational thing. Yo, get your money. Go ahead. But you need to make sure that the New Yorkers that are paying for that can also get their money and not pay for everyone else. That's a whatever. they don't care about that. So, that is where we are at. And that is the tea I'm so cooking programs. At least for Albany, New York. I'm gonna end this here. My little rant. Morning. My little rant of the day. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Remember to stay amazing. To be the person that the world needs. And remember that you are loved and cared about by this girl right here. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.